What is sound?
You just heard it.
Sounds are the physical sensation that stimulates our ears by longitudinal waves.
Longitudinal waves are waves that carry sound away from the source. Sounds come from a source, or a vibrating object, and travel through longitudinal waves to the hearing object, like the ear or the instrument.
Sounds need matter to carry. It cannot travel in the absence of matter. So sound can travel in water, the ground, and air, but it cannot travel through space because there's no matter or anyone to hear. Yes. The speed of sound is the speed at which the longitudinal waves travel from the source to the hearing object.
The important thing about the speed of sound is that it differs by materials. For every mile away from you that the lightning strikes, you will hear the thunder 5 seconds later. This is the difference between the speed of light and this particular speed of sound.
Like Maggie said, the speed of sound is different in different materials. Here are some examples of the speed of sound in various materials at 20 degrees Celsius and 1 ATM. Decibels is a measure of the intensity of sound.
The power behind the sound is what we think of as loudness. This is measured in decibels.
Intensity is the measure of loudness and is proportional to the square of the amplitude of the wave.
For example, to produce a sound that is twice as loud, you need 10 times the intensity.
Like we said, decibel is the measure of intensity of sound. Here are some examples of real-life sounds and their decibel level.
Listen, are you having fun?
Yes, I'm having a great time.
Pitch is the frequency of the wave, which is measured in hertz. Pitch of the sound determines if it's high or low, and which is directly related to frequency.
The audible range, which is the range that humans can hear, ranges from 20 hertz to 20,000 hertz. But what you can hear really depends on your age.
Sounds that are greater than 20,000 hertz are called ultrasonic.
Some examples of those are bats, which can hear up to 100,000 hertz, and dogs, which can hear up to 50,000 hertz.
Infrasonic are sounds that are below 20 hertz. Examples of this are earthquakes and volcanoes and anything that you feel before you hear, which can obviously damage the human body without being audible.
This is a piano. We've seen lots of different kinds of pianos in this physics video. So, as you all may know, the way that a piano makes sound is you press a key, like that one, and it strikes a little hammer inside of the piano. You see that? Which hits a string. And that's what makes the note. So, on the inside of a piano, in addition to the hammers, there are lots and lots of strings. And each one creates a different note with a different pitch. Now, we've talked about how pitch can be determined by the length of the vessel that creates the sound. So, for the very bottom notes at the bottom of the piano, the strings are very, very, very long, and they're very, very, very thick. There are lots of coils wrapped around. For the strings that make the higher notes, the strings get thinner, they get smaller, and they get very, very, very short. Teeny tiny little bitty, itty bitty strings. So, when you hit a key at the top of a piano, like this one, the hammer is hitting an itty bitty little string. When you hit a note at the bottom of the piano, like this one, it's hitting a very, very long, thick, coiled string with a very low pitch. Low pitch, bottom of the keyboard, high pitch, top of the keyboard. And that's how a piano works.
These are sound waves. These are nodes here, and these are antinodes, where the waves are furthest apart.
The lowest frequency wave is something called the fundamental, and this is what we have up here. And it corresponds to something that has a single antinode.
And then the higher frequency waves are called harmonics. And so this one has one node in the middle for a total of 3 nodes, and this one has 4 nodes total. And each harmonic has a higher frequency than the one below.
So using the example of a guitar, when you don't put your finger down anywhere on the fretboard, this is an example of the fundamental. So where there is a single antinode and the sound carries completely well. Okay. This is an example of the second harmonic, which has 3 notes, here, here, and here, and 2 antinodes. We are able to demonstrate the second harmonic on the guitar because I have created a node by placing my hand on the neck. This is the only place on the fretboard where the sound resonates freely because I'm interrupting the single antinode directly in the middle of the board.
Beats are the small sounds that occur when 2 waves are occurring at close frequencies but not the same frequency, so that they vary in intensity, and there are specific moments where the sound waves clash, and there are these little sounds and they're called beats, and they're straight out of hell. Yeah.
Oh, that's it.
Ah, that's painful.
The Doppler effect is a change in frequency of the wave for an observer based on the relative position to the source of the sound.
Okay, so like with a fire truck, when a fire truck is driving down the street and it is howling its sirens, what is the verb? Okay, its sirens are going in front of it, and since it is moving toward the waves that it's projecting in front of it, it's kind of compressing them since it's catching up, and it's making the waves seem shorter and more compressed, which to us makes the pitch go up. So when the fire truck is coming towards you, it sounds like one pitch, and then once it passes by you, and it's just that you're listening to the sound waves that are going on from behind it, then the pitch goes back down.
Here's an example of the Doppler effect in real life.
As Zoe and Kate described, the Doppler effect is the change in pitch of a sound relative to the position of the listener. This is an example of the Doppler effect because the pitch of the sound coming from the car changes right when it passes you. Okay, done. Let's go.